What's up, everybody? Happy Monday, August 7th. Coach Zai here. Got my guy CO. CO, what's up? How you been, brother?
Pretty good. How are you? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, too long, but been good, busy. I'm planning for a wedding. I got that wedding in about a month, so just grinding for that wedding.
Yes, sir. Atta boy.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's start off with tell us how those workouts are going. I know, obviously, I know a little bit more than most people, just the way we talk and plan out our page and stuff. But I know you were. I think you were cutting, and now are you not cutting? Like, what is? Just talk to us a little bit about your workouts and how all that's going.
Okay, so I was in like a 1,000 calorie deficit for my cutting.
Okay.
Recently I upped my calories back up, so I'm still in like a 300 to 500 deficit, but I'm focusing on eating more protein. And by doing that, I've noticed like the most like gains from it. Like I've been eating probably upwards of 200 grams of protein per day, and my abs are starting to show more. I'm just getting more definition all over, and it's actually going really great.
All right. That's good. Good. Yeah. I just you just got me started on the today more protein, cut the calories. So today was my day one. I'm starving right now, but a solid day one. We'll see if I can make it through the night without nothing other than water. And but I feel good. So it was a solid day. For me, I'm definitely getting stronger, and I see it. We talked a little bit today about it. That I've been struggling with because I'm not necessarily losing weight on the scale. I can see that my body is changing, and I'm definitely getting more comfortable with heavier weights. You can see that in my videos. So there's positives, but there's also some negatives that have been tough for me. That's for sure. But just really trying to focus on my nutrition now and uh, more cardio. And I freaking hate cardio. Anybody that says they like cardio is full of shit.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't stand cardio, man. It's awful. It doesn't matter what you do. But the thing about it is you hate it before, you hate it during, but as soon as you get done, that feeling is unmatched.
Yep.
That feeling is just unmatched. So that's, it's something you just have to battle through and get through it. Is there something you've been doing for your cardio lately? Like what, are you mixing it up every day, or is there kind of a routine you've been on?
So the routine I've been on probably the last month or so, ever since I got back from Florida. So like one week I'll go lighter weight, and then after my lifts, I'll run 4 miles each day during that week. And then the next week after that, so I'm on this type of week this week, I'll go heavier weight, less reps, and then like the Stairmaster, like the incline treadmill after. That's just what I've been doing. I don't know why. It's just I think I saw it somewhere and decided to give it a try, and it's working really well for me. So,
I re- yeah,
definitely.
I respect it. I've been trying to hit the Stairmaster. I try to get outside, but as you know, in Texas right now, the weather is it's crazy. It's 105 every day. There's no clouds. It's just sunny and 105 every day from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. It's just the way it is. So it is tough to do anything outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I do. I have been trying to do a little bit of running on the treadmill, where I do like intervals. I'll walk a minute, run a minute, walk 2 minutes, run 2 minutes. I try to do the walk like 2 minutes max.
Yeah.
So then I'll go run 3 minutes, walk 2 minutes. I try to grind up to that, but it's tough. But yeah, it's a process for sure. So let's talk about any PRs lately in the weight room, um, or any struggles. Maybe you can talk about both. But yeah, is there a certain body? Is there a certain lift you've been really working on? And have you been able to PR? Are you looking to PR anytime soon? And then what have you been struggling with in the weight room or cardio or whatever it is?
I haven't really maxed recently, but the thing I will say, like when I was like, I'd say like bulking, a few months back, I could hit 315 on bench probably 3 times, and like now, since like obviously cutting, I've lost like some weight and whatnot. Um, I struggle to hit it once or twice. So like that's definitely something that I'm like, damn. First of all, but like you just got I don't know. And then the 4 miles when I first started it, like that first week, was absolute hell. Like I felt like shit every single day. But then last week, as I was getting like used to it, um, I started to get used to it, and it felt much better than it did the first week.
For sure. Yeah. For me, I haven't really PR'd. I've been definitely going heavier, especially with chest.
Yeah.
I really want to get to the 400 club. That's kind of been my goal. I don't know where I'm at right now. I've been, I got 275 the other day at the end of a workout, and I was impressed with that. A lot of people comment on my TikTok. Like, my TikTok has been blowing up, so has my YouTube, and it's funny, man. People be like, "You do too many reps. You don't do enough," and I just kind of have fun with the comments back. But it's tough, if you do 40, 45 reps. Sometimes I do like 60 reps in a bench day, and then you try to max it. Then you're fatigued.
Exactly.
And the thing I've learned about PR, and like if you're trying to max, the window to hit it is so small because you psych yourself up. You might warm up, but then if you fail, you have one or two times because your energy is done after that. Like, it's just over.
Yep.
So it's for me. I don't really max too much. Like, just try to put more weight on. Like, now I'm into the 70s, 75s on incline, shoulder press, stuff like that. So like next is go to 80s, 90s, 100s, and just keep adding weight, and it will happen. So, I remember when 225, I was happy just to get it. Now I'm like repping it. Like, so yeah, definitely. That's the thing. I don't know if I PR. My struggle is just always, I would say it's just that to keep pushing yourself. Don't get comfortable and just like even today I was like, man, I need somebody to give me the 70s. Like, but then I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it. And I made it look easy. So I was like, man, maybe I could do the 80s. So that's the thing. It's just try it, and if you fail, you fail. So be it. So that's kind of. Go ahead.
I feel like that's the way to go though. Like, I don't really get like maxing on anything. Just like, I mean, it looks good, but like, I feel like the work or the stuff that benefits you more is if like you do like progressive overload.
For sure. Yeah.
10, 8, 6 rep range or something like that.
Yes, absolutely. No, I agree with that 100%. So let's see, what do we have next? What's the most satisfying lift, maybe ever for you, or maybe just in your routine? Like, it's like one of those days when you work out and if you hit this and you hit it good, like you're like, damn, like, it just makes your day. You're walking out of the gym. I mean, we don't need to get your ego any bigger than it is, but you're walking out of the gym, you feel like the shit. Like, what is that? What is that for you? Is it a lift? Is it a time when you run? Like, what is it for you that does that?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go with one of my buddies showed me this thing when I do like shoulders and arms. He plays football at Hillsdale, and I didn't even think of this like for anything. So what you'll do, you do lat raises and you do curls. So you go up to, I think it's 15.
Okay.
You'll do 1 lat raise, 2 curls, rest, and then 2, 4, and then basically you go all the way up to 15 lat raises. So you're doing 15 lat raises, 30 curls at the top.
Yep.
You do that again, and then you go back down. So it's like a big ladder, and that shit like makes you feel like you need shoulder replacement surgery after. It is like,
I believe it. Yeah.
It's so tough, but like after like finishing it, because I'm doing it tomorrow too. After you finish it, there's no better feeling.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't know about you, but it's crazy.
No, for sure. I think for me, I don't know if there's a specific lift. Probably just say a bench. Like, if I can hit a 15 or 12 reps when I started off at heavy weight. But like, for me, it's just like one of those. It's on a rep day, and you really just you complete all your reps. Like, you didn't cheat. You challenge yourself, and when you're done, you're exhausted. Like, looks like you just walk through the Atlantic Ocean because you're just leaving the gym. You have nothing left. Like, so for me, that's kind of the satisfaction. There's just something about a rep day. It's so tough to stay locked in the whole time. And that's when people are like, it's just challenging. It's a mental challenge. So for me, it's like those days. Because some people, I see a lot of guys in the gym, they're doing like 3-4 reps just for, get a video high weight. I'm like, man, if you can only do it like 3 or 4 times, that's cool. But if that's all you're doing, like, I want to see you hit that 10 times, 4 sets, like, control it. Like, so that's kind of, you shouldn't have to sniff the salt every time you're about to bench. Exactly. So it just drives me nuts. So yeah, that's kind of for me. It's just kind of like, if I can rep, if I see somebody else, they're maxing, but I'm close in weight and I'm just repping it. Like, I'm like, yeah, no, you ain't shit. Like that, you ain't over here. You can't handle this. Like, it's just a different world. So it's just kind of where I'm at with that for sure. All right. Last gym question for you. Pre-workout is kind of one of my favorite things. Not to say that I'm addicted, but there's just so much of it. I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
There's energy drinks. There's little pouches. There's shit you can sniff. There's gummies. there's so much pre-workout caffeine out there that is crazy.
Yeah.
What are you taking right now? Are you taking anything? Are you one of those 100% natural people? Like, I always like to know what people take because it just changes everything. For me, it's not that I necessarily need it. It helps me focus though. It really does help me just ignore everybody else in the gym and lock in.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll tell you first right now, I'm on like Libby got me a bunch that we ordered a bunch of shit on Amazon Prime Day. So right now I got like C4, I've got like this other Hulk shit, and then I've got this some fruit type thing. I don't even know what it is. I never even had it before. So I got like 3 of them, and I switch it like every other day.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not just taking one kind, like mixes up the flavors. The C4 is kind of trash. It tastes okay, but I don't really like the effects it gives. But the other 2 are pretty good. And then obviously every once in a while I take an energy drink. I love energy drinks. But more or less I take energy drinks when I need the energy during the day for work or if I got to get shit done, not necessarily to go to the gym. So what are you on?
I usually big Alani Nu guy.
I love Alani's too, absolutely.
Like that's my shit before the gym, and then I'll usually have that with either like some protein balls, like a couple of those, or a banana. Like a banana just helps me from cramping and it just gives me a ton of energy along with the drink. So that's basically I've been drinking them for a year now, and I just love them.
Yeah, I mean I like the drinks too, but the drinks don't give me the I don't know. There's just something about the powder, man. The powder, like when you put the powder, you can sniff that. That just hits different for me. So, but the drinks, they're the best. Alani is the best flavor and the best effects, in my opinion, of an energy drink. So, for sure, I agree with you on that. So that's good to know. All right, man. It's football season. We got to talk about football. We all know you're a bandwagon. You like Georgia. So we'll start off with Georgia, back-to-back national champs. What's your prediction for their season this year? What do you expect? New quarterback. Obviously, within the last 2 years, you guys have had about 50 draft picks in the first couple rounds. So can Kirby – this is where I'll say this becomes – we saw Dabo do it for a couple years. We're going to see if Kirby can do it. This is where I always say this is the difference between Nick Saban and every other coach in college football. Nick Saban does this shit every year, right? His team is in the national championship conversation every year, pretty much since I've been alive to some degree. Dabo was there. He made his little run, and then it's kind of quieted down, right? Still in the conversation, but not like Nick Saban is every year. This is where I'll say this is going to be the time for Kirby now. It's like you're starting to lose assistants, right? All of his assistants are starting to get head coaching jobs just like Nick Saban does. And it's like now your roster is going to turn over every year because your good guys are going to leave, and the guys that don't play are going to transfer. It's how it is at schools like that. So this is my question for you. Again, what do you think the record's going to be? Are they going to three-peat? And is Kirby Smart going to put his, kind of his foot down and say, I am Nick Saban or better? And I'll tell you my opinion after yours. I'll give you a chance, but I'll tell you this is where, like I said, to me, this is where all the guys fade off and they're not Nick Saban. Like this is what the difference between Nick Saban and everybody else in the world.
I agree with you 100% about the Nick Saban piece you just said. It's going to be interesting to see this year. I'm interested to see Carson Beck play. I know we've seen like bits and spurts of him, like in blowouts and stuff. But what people don't know is when JT Daniels was playing quarterback, Carson Beck was our second string quarterback. When Stetson was actually still there, he was our third. And then it was JT, Carson, then Stetson.
Yep.
And Carson got hurt in like the camp, so Stetson moved up, and then obviously JT got hurt, and then Stetson went in.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how he performs. I'm excited for it for sure. He has a better arm than Stetson does, in my opinion. It'll just be interesting to see. He has a lot of good weapons around him, obviously. Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, a couple of receivers we picked up in the transfer portal as well. So I'm excited for that side of the ball for sure. We should score a lot of points. Defensively, you might like smack me when you see me, but I think we could be better than we were last year on that side of the ball. Just because our DBs last year were super young, other than Ringo, he's in the NFL now. But Kamari Lassiter was only a sophomore. Malachi Starks was a freshman. Javon Bullard was a sophomore. Yeah, he was a sophomore. And then Dalen Everett is a redshirt freshman this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play. Our front seven's pretty much the same other than Jalen Carter. So I'm excited to see that front seven play. It's not going to be anything like a couple years ago, but I think they're going to be better than last year.
Really?
Now, what I will say is I think the conversation, if Kirby wins that 2017 championship in his second year, I think this conversation's entirely different as far as like him. Because I don't know how you rate him and Dabo. I think he's past that Dabo, in my opinion. But if he wins that 2017 game in the national championship, and then he has those couple successful years after that, and then he does this, I think we're having a much different conversation. But he didn't. So I think this year, I think he's going to get it done.
A three-peat.
I'm going to say 14-1. The reason I say this, I think we're going to go undefeated. We're going to play LSU in the SEC championship game. We're going to lose.
Really?
And then they're going to go to 1, I think, and we're going to drop to 3. It's going to be the same scenario as a couple years ago. That's my prediction.
So you're saying Alabama's not even going to make the playoffs?
Nope.
Really? Wow. That's a hot take.
I just don't believe in they don't have a quarterback right now. Like my uncle's a huge fan.
Yeah.
He lived down south for a bunch of years, and he was expressing concern too as far with the quarterback and the receivers and the running backs even. Like they're not what they have been in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. We'll get into these top dogs not having a quarterback returning when we talk about my boys, but Curvo and Dabo, I'd put in the same conversation right now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if Kirby did win that national championship, yeah, he'd probably be above Dabo. But I put it in. If I had to personally rank them, I still might put Dabo just ahead, just because it's Clemson. I think Georgia was already really good. I mean, when he took over, like I thought Rick got kind of the short end of the stick. I thought he did a good job. He never could win the big game, right? So it wasn't like Kirby took over some bum ass program. Like Georgia had NFL guys, Kirby
like he walked in and Chubb and Michelle were in the backfield.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The thing about the quarterback position is when you play it like Georgia, you just can't lose the game, mm-hmm. right? Especially for about 85% of the year. That's how it goes. Like, just don't lose us the game. Our defense and physicality running the ball is going to allow Georgia to win majority of those games. Now you got to go win a playoff against an Alabama, LSU, and obviously sometimes depending on the schedule there are some atmospheres in that, just like other conferences, but in the SEC especially, that it's really tough to go win somewhere, night game or whatever it is, Tennessee, LSU, Florida, those places. If you got to go play on the road, it's about impossible to go win. But that's where a quarterback can make that difference. So I mean, it's hard to say. I would agree. I think Georgia will be in the conversation, right? They're going to always be in that conversation now for a while. The quarterback, it's just going to depend. The SEC, I listen to these SEC guys just to get my shit fired up. I love because people in the SEC think they're on a different world.
Yeah.
And they just talk about how deep the conference is, blah, 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 blah. And I just say people ride the coke nuts of Nick Saban in Georgia now. They like to throw themselves in that conversation because everybody else in the SEC has been trash the last few years. Florida has taken a big step back. Tennessee has come in, but before that they were trash.
Yeah.
And again, I'll believe it when I see if they stay consistent, right? I mean, their quarterbacks. Hooker was about 30 years old. He's about as old as I was. Yeah. Joe Milton's been in college for about 20 years himself. So that's the thing, like. You got to show me something more than that. Just when you got somebody playing quarterback that could be dad to some of these other teams that are playing quarterback. I'm not sold on that yet.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss, I like Lane Kiffin, but same story. Lane's like 7-0, 8-0 every year, and then just falls apart. I'd like to see Lane get to the SEC championship game. I think it'd be great for college football. I love his personality. I love that he says what he wants. But. So for the SEC, here's what I'll tell you. I think that Nick Saban is not a guy that likes to, especially somebody that was his coach, whatever. He doesn't like getting his ass kicked. So I think there are a lot of question marks about Alabama, but I think there's question marks about Georgia. And I think the one thing Kirby will struggle with is if his quarterback play is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that will be very interesting. Now, like I said, based on their schedule, they could get it rolling early, and that could all fix itself.
Yep.
But let's see what happens when that seat gets a little bit hot. Because Stenson was, again, another older guy, kind of can take an ass chewing. If you remember, like Ohio State at halftime, Kirby was kind of dogging his shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, not everybody can take that. That's what I'm saying. So if the seat gets a little hot, maybe they lose a game. Maybe it's a must-win. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. There's the SEC. I think here's what I'll tell you. I don't think Georgia three-peats. I'll say that Alabama keeps them. They may make the playoff, but I'm going to say Alabama wins the SEC. I'm a Michigan dude, so Brian Kelly is. I'm not sold on Brian Kelly in LSU. That's some fraud stuff. He would like that at Notre Dame, though. He would, Notre Dame would be in the conversation. But again, now maybe because he can recruit down south and it's easier to get kids in the school. But I'll believe it when I see it. Last year they beat Alabama. I think they got lucky again. That was LSU at night, right? Like that's not the coach. That's the atmosphere, in my opinion. Me and you could go coach that game and they might win.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I'm not sold on Brian Kelly and LSU. I think they could take a step back. They could lose 4 or 5 games, in my opinion. That's just how Brian Kelly is. Brian Kelly is crazy. He's just a douchebag. I think he's one of the biggest douches in college football. So I don't know how anybody could want to send their kid to play for him.
I agree.
So,
I really wouldn't either. I want to fix my prediction though. We're going 15-0.
Okay. I like it. Be confident. So I'll say Alabama wins the SEC.
Okay.
I'm not buying in the Tennessee hype either. Like I see people are saying like Joe Milton can win the Heisman. Like dude throws the ball like he's Randy Johnson on the mound. Like shit's not gonna work. But he does have a cannon. And he's had a cannon since he couldn't complete a pass against Michigan State when he's at Michigan. So like trust me. So like I'm happy for him. I really am. I'm happy that he's gonna get a chance to shine. I will say Tennessee's coach, explosive offense, finds dudes that can play. The receiver they had last year, Hyatt, I think is his name or whatever.
I think
he's going to be a dude that shines in the NFL as a rookie just from his pure athleticism and what I've been reading. So Tennessee's going to be they kind of remind me of like what Lane's doing at Ole Miss. They're going to score a lot of points. If they can get lucky in the schedule and only have to beat one of the big dogs, so be it. That's what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on. Before we talk about Michigan, that'll be the last thing we talk about because I could talk about Michigan for about an hour. Let's talk about college football a little bit. They're realigning all these programs, these conferences. Here's what's happening in my opinion. You're going to get the big dogs. The 5 conferences are all going to end up in 3 conferences is really what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So, and it's whoever has the money. And no matter what anybody says, it's always about the damn money in this world. That's what it always is about. That's how it's always going to be. I don't necessarily have a problem with it if they figure out what to do with the little dogs. And I've been saying this for a while, especially in football. Being from Michigan, right? We know the MAC, right? Eastern, Western, Central. We're very familiar with that because we have so many damn MAC schools right around us.
Yeah.
Nobody from the MAC is ever going to win a national championship in football. I don't care if they cheat. I don't care if Nick Saban goes there to coach. It's just not going to happen. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to see is have there be a Division I, a Division 1B, whatever. Like, give the little dogs a chance and something to play for still, okay? They might not be on ESPN. They might not be on Fox all the time, but give them something that they can go win championships. That's what I want to see happen because the way it's going and the way all this money is getting involved, and no matter what, whether they fix the NIL or they don't, there will always be money go getting handed off behind the door. Mm-hmm. Those schools can't keep up, right? They just don't have it. People don't want – and the people that do have the money, they don't want to go throw that money into those type of programs. So that's what I want to see. I'm interested in what you think about Deion Sanders in Colorado. I'll give you a hot take right now. I think Deion Sanders is a douchebag. I'm going to put him right there with Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
The way that he comes in, he tries to tell these guys what to do and what not to do, but then he'll be like, no hats, but he's got a hat on, and you're not a gangster, but he's acting like a gangster, and I get it. He'll say, I've been there, done that. I'm for that, but when you become a coach, it's way different. And he always has a camera in his face, right? And you always get to hear his side. And I just, the thing is, like, if you're going to have the camera, let us watch everything. Because you always see the good conversations and the hype and this. And I thought, like, when they lost last year, right? They kind of showed the camera where he was telling that guy that dropped the pass that mattered in that championship game they played in. He was patting him on the back, but he wasn't. I know that's not what he was saying when he dropped the pass.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff. That's what I want to hear you say, because that's your true character, right? Anybody can go give that dude a hug and be like, it wasn't your fault. We had a lot of plays. Well, what did you say when he dropped that pass? That's what I want to hear. Like, that's that real last chance you stuff, is when you get to hear what they actually say. So for me, Deion picked the perfect spot, though. No expectations in Colorado. The view of the stadium is actually tremendous. Like, so they are going to get recruits to go there. And he, like, I got to be careful how I put this, but he's kind of like, you know, people used to call Michael Jordan Black Jesus. Like, Deion is now Black Jesus of Colorado. Like, that's how people are going to view him, and that's how he gets to act. So he's loving it, right? There's no pressure. And I thought that he took Colorado for that reason. Like, he could have took Florida State. He could have took one of these SEC jobs. He was scared. He knows he's not ready for the big dogs yet. Like, that's the thing. So, and what's going to drive me nuts is they might go 10-2 or whatever because their schedule sucks and nobody plays defense in that conference right now. And I see they might go to the Big 12, which really won't be the Big 12 because Oklahoma and Texas are leaving.
Exactly.
So, like, and Deion is playing the system right now perfectly. Like, people are going to be like, oh, he's so great, great coach. And I'm going to tell you, I might not even have to be on social media because I can't stand it already. Like, dude wiped out the whole program, didn't even give some of these dudes a chance. And then on top of that, brought his son in, like, and said, hey, he's the starting quarterback right away. So I hope that his son just plays terrible. Like, you know, I hope the kid, you know, I always wish best for everybody, but I want this to blow up in Deion's face. So give me your thoughts on the way college football going, and then what your opinion is on Deion Sanders, because I think I could see you loving Deion. I can see you being that type of guy.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna disagree with you. I love him. There's some of the shit he does kind of pisses me off a little bit, like you said. He's kind of like for show, like the hat thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like as a player, like as far as like him, I'll throw Kirby in there. I'll throw Nick Saban in there. I feel like you would just want to play for them. Like, I feel like he would motivate you to want to come to like Colorado or something.
Yeah.
Like. So I don't agree with like not giving the other kids a chance. Obviously, like the coach before he got there, I don't even know who he was. Dog shit though. They were terrible.
They were
like,
terrible.
I mean, at least give the kids a chance to see like about everything and what's going on. If they don't like it, they don't like it. If they're not built for it, then they can leave. But I didn't agree with that. But for the most part, I do like him. I think he's good for college football. And like you said, he's playing it the right way right now. Like, Oklahoma and Texas are gone. Like, the Big 12 is bringing in UCF and a couple of those smaller schools. So like he's gonna be successful there.
He very well next year could be the favorite to win the Big 12 right away.
100%.
Yeah, right away.
And with the conference realignment, I have mixed feelings about it. I really don't understand why USC and UCLA and all those West Coast schools want to come to the Big Ten. Like, I can't even like picture like them coming to play like Wisconsin or Michigan in like a snow game. Like, I just can't picture that like at all. I think it'll be sweet once it happens, but I can't really picture it. I think the SEC needs to go after like Florida State, Clemson, because Big Ten's making moves right now. They got SEC just do something.
Yeah, it is. It's going to come down to the Big Ten and the SEC for sure. Mm-hmm. Especially with college football and the Big Ten. What the Big Ten is doing is covering the map, right? Yep. Saying they have teams in every location, which was really smart of them. I'll give the Big Ten credit. USC is going to be really interesting because Lincoln Riley is a good college football coach. I think he's a little bit of a scumbag, but he does. He can play. He can coach some offense. That's for damn sure. So, but I agree with you. It's going to be really interesting if like USC and Michigan are top 5 in the country, and USC has to come play in a blizzard in November. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's going to be what's interesting about the college football playoff when they go to these 12 teams or whatever it is, because those home field advantages are going to be huge. They're going to be huge. Like, some of these schools can't go play. You know, they don't understand. And that's when people talk crap about Michigan-Ohio State rivalry. I'm like, you don't understand what the weather does, you know, what it's like in that type of game. Like, it's just different. And I agree with you. Like, kids from California, some of those dudes have never even seen snow.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you got to go defend the run. You got to play physical. Like it's the Big Ten. Like it's just different. You know what I'm saying? Like same thing with Texas. I don't think Texas is ready for the SEC.
Me
You know,
either.
obviously living down here in Texas, people in Texas think they are the next coming. They are ready. They really believe that. I think they're overhyped again. You know, they probably had you know, you could Blake Corum or Robinson, whichever one. They had maybe the best running back last year. And yeah, they did play Alabama pretty well, but Alabama did not play well that game at all. And you just you sit there and you think the rest of the year for Texas, the Big 12 was not very good last year. And it's like now you're going to go to the SEC, and it's like when I watched Texas games last year, their line was not very good, and it's like, man, you're going to get exposed. I really think that. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be very interesting. In Oklahoma, they were terrible last year. Now I think they'll bounce back. I would hammer the over on Oklahoma because I think if their quarterback's healthy, they will bounce back a little bit. But same thing, they're not ready for the physicality and the speed of the SEC. That's a big jump. You know, just like UCLA, and I like Chip Kelly. I think Chip Kelly does a good job. I don't know. I don't know that USC and UCLA are ready for the Big Ten. You know, to grind out wins like that. It's just it can deflate you. You know, that's what Georgia does to people. That's what Michigan has done to people the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. You know, if you can't stop the run, you're done. You're done for. That's it. That's just the game's over. So it's going to be real interesting. Well, let's get right to the Big Ten, man. And I'll tell you this: me and you texted about this. You said some crazy stuff. Okay, so the Big Ten is coming down to 3 teams this year. Okay, now I'm going to go 4, and I'll tell you 4 why. First one is Penn State, who you told me you think is going to win the Big Ten. That's crazy. Okay, James Franklin is an off-brand SEC coach. He needs to go back to the SEC, right? Can't ever win the big game. Dude had Saquon Barkley's roster. That thing was loaded and didn't make it to the, hardly anything, right? Like, yeah, Saquon torched Michigan, but that was it. Like, that was the biggest win of his James Franklin's career. Like, yeah, he's beat Ohio State a couple times, but again, when James Franklin wins big games, it's a whiteout at Penn State. And I'm telling you that in that atmosphere, me and you can go call some plays, and we're going to be successful in those type of atmospheres. And he has Saquon Barkley. I mean, that dude's thighs were humongous in college. Like, he was maybe the best. You could argue that if he would have played in a different place and they would have achieved a little more, that people would say Saquon was the best college running back of all time. Like, that's how good he was. And he's had some players, man, Micah Parsons. Like, they've had some dudes. Like, I'll give him that. He can recruit, but I'm just telling you right now that James Franklin's off-brand. Like, it's over for him. Now, Michigan plays there, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Penn State's not winning the Big Ten, but they're in the mix. I'll give you that. Second team is Ohio State. I don't got much good to say about them. Can't stand them. They're always going to be talented. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a stud. Maybe the best player in college. Maybe the best player in college football. But there's just Urban Meyer was a guy, and I hate saying that because I think Urban Meyer is the biggest scumbag, douchebag in life. And the thing is, I'm on record. You can ask people in my life. I was saying that when he was at Florida. Mm-hmm. And then he came to Ohio State and was like my worst nightmare because I knew the dude was going to win. And the thing is, like, he's one of those dudes that will do anything it takes to win. It don't matter. Like, he'll fuck your mom. Like, he'll do whatever it is, like, to win. Like, that's just the way it is. So it is what it is. Like, so Urban Meyer was that guy, and Ohio State had that swagger. Like, that's when they won a national championship. Like, you just knew that. Ryan Day ain't that guy, man. Like, he really is. Like, people dog Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh might have hit the nail on the head when he said, like, you were born on third base. Like, because Ryan Day, like, his formula is kind of like what I think of Jim Harbaugh when Urban was there. It was like Jim Harbaugh is going to get this close, but he may never get over the hump. Like, it's just, he can't do it. I don't think that Ryan Day can beat Jim Harbaugh. Like, it's just like he doesn't get the swagger. Like, those Ohio State dudes don't have the swagger. Like, C.J. Stroud was like, yeah, had a great career. Like, people should be proud of me. Like, no, you got your shit wiped up against Michigan the last 2 years. Like, that's not how this rivalry works. Like, you guys just dogged us for 10 years because that's what we would say about our dudes. Like, so I just don't think Ryan Day is the dude, but they're always going to be talented, and it don't matter who's at Ohio State. They'll get some of the best players in the country. They recruit very much like an SEC team. They get speed. They get good defensive ends. They get solid linemen. And the difference has been this. Urban Meyer had NFL running backs. Use the quarterback to run. Ryan Day tries to run it almost like a true pro offense. Yeah. And is kind of a pass-first kind of guy. And so they haven't been able to run the ball against Michigan, and they haven't been able to stop the run. And that's just you're not going to beat Michigan very often if you can't do at least one of those things, let alone both of them. So I'm not worried about Ohio State. They got to come to the big house. If it's snowing, we know how that's going to end. That shit we'll wipe them boys up again. Iowa. Here's my surprise team, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Here's why I tell you this, okay? First of all, they might as well be the Iowa Wolverines with all the transfers they got from Michigan. They got Cade, Eric All. I think there's a couple more, but they got a lot of transfers. I think everybody could always say Iowa has a good defense, a good old line. They can always run it. They're usually coached well. That offense last year was really bad. It was hard to watch games, but I think it was more or less the quarterback. Like they literally had like a JV high school quarterback out there playing. Like they just completely whiffed in the quarterback room. Cade will solve some of that because Cade is a gamer and he's competitive. I don't think Cade is a world-beating quarterback. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder though because he got replaced by J.J. McCarthy, and he's going to want to make the Big Ten championship game because I know that he's telling those guys Michigan's going to make it. Like Michigan's loaded, they're going to make it, so let's make it. And we're going to play those boys. So that's going to be really interesting. So they're a surprise team. I think they have an outside chance. Being on that side of the Big Ten this year, their competition's not very good. Like, PJ, roll the boat, whatever. Like, it's all overrated, right? Like, so
yeah.
Wisconsin's not what they used to be. Like, so I'm going to say Iowa's an outside team. They could potentially win the Big Ten championship depending on who they match up with. Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you about my boys, okay? This is the best roster we've had in my lifetime. That includes Chad Henne, Mike Hart. We had some squads back in the day. The expectation, I did not say this the last 2 years. Last 2 years, I said we could win a national championship, depending on the draw, depending on how it is. Like, I thought last year we got screwed in the seeding. Like, whatever, just depending on if you can get the two Titans to play each other first and whatever. So that's what we need. This year, talent-wise, we're just as good as everybody else in the country. We have our offense is the best offense in the country. We bring back other than Caleb Williams, we bring back the best quarterback in the country. And people by the end of the year may say JJ is the best quarterback in the country. Our two running backs are the best two running backs in college football. Are the two best. They torched at the end of the year. Donovan Edwards half his body was broke, and you can't argue with me about Blake. Blake is a dog. All right. Our wide receiver room is underrated. Here's what I'll tell you. We may not have the pro size as wide receivers. That may be the one downfall, but we have the pro speed. And I think we do have some guys that didn't play last year that are 6'2", 6'3", that will play this year. They'll make a difference. Mr. Loveland at tight end is going to be in the conversation. He is not Brock Bowers. I won't tell you that, but he is going to be in the conversation as one of the best tight ends in the country. Michigan tight ends block. They're physical. It's what they are. Other than Georgia, our tight end room has been the second best in the country. Our offensive line is NFLU. That's what it has become. Everybody that puts on the pads and plays for Michigan's offensive line, they're going to play on Sundays. It's just the way it's become. So our offense is loaded. It's just the way it is. We can run the ball now. We can throw it. We can block. So we can now go win games anyway. People have said in the past, oh, can't throw it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Can't run it in big games. I'll tell you that. People forget last year against TCU. We fumbled the ball on the goal line. We scored a touchdown, and they call it. They marked the ball 2 yards back, whatever, blah, blah, blah. JJ threw 2 pick sixes, and we still almost beat them. We almost hung a 50-piece on them. Our defense did not play very good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, you couldn't cover. Quentin Johnson torched your shit.
Quentin Johnson tortured. I agree. I think we were trying to prepare for Georgia, to be honest with you. Yep. I think we overlooked TCU. We played about a C game and still almost won the game. Had the ball with a chance to win in the last couple minutes, right? And I think we can all say that JJ didn't play great. He had moments, but he didn't play great. Donovan was hurt, and Blake didn't even play. So, again, we're bringing back the two best running backs in the country. And we bring back basically the entire receiving room. We bring back the entire offensive line. We bring back maybe top 2 or 3 tight end. Like, we're just loaded. I'm telling you, man. Now, on the defense, let me tell you about the defense. We have the best corner in the country in Will Johnson. I don't want to hear it from you on that one. Will Johnson is the best corner in the country. Secondly, Chris Jenkins, the defensive tackle, will move himself into the top 15 of the NFL draft this year. He's put on about 15 pounds, and just read the articles about him. He's a freaking monster. He's Mozzie Smith Jr. And if you haven't, I will show you the video of what Mozzie Smith's been doing to the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. He's been cooking.
I've seen videos on him. Yeah.
Dude is a monster.
Mhm.
So Chris Jenkins will do that this year. Don't forget, Chris Jenkins' dad was a pretty good college football player as well. We've got other guys that are going to play well on the defensive line. I'm not going to tell you they're going to go be Aiden Hutchinson, but they're going to produce. They're going to do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We bring back – this is the first time in the Jim Harbaugh era that we bring back 3 starting linebackers. That is huge. That is huge for us. Our safeties are solid. The only question we have on defense is the second corner and third corner. We did a classic. I mean, we have Mike Sanderstill. People forget about that. Mike Sanderstill, hell of a story. 3-star recruit, played receiver, goes to defensive back, makes great play against Ohio State last year. Like, that's a great story. We have another receiver that moved, classic Jim Harbaugh, right? Like, oh, you can't, you're the 7th receiver, go play defense. So they say he's a freak athlete, fastest dude on the football field. We'll see how that plays out.
Mhm.
I'm just telling you. Am I telling you we're going to go beat Georgia? No. But I'm telling you this is the first time in a long, long time as a Michigan fan that I can say the expectation is not go beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State. The expectation is to be in the national championship game and compete. I think we have the talent to win it. You know how football works. You got to stay healthy. You got to get lucky here and there in a game. You're going to play bad. You're going to fumble. You're going to throw a pick. The ball's going to get tipped. The weather's going to be bad. Somebody from the other team is going to go make a play. So you got to get a little lucky, and it is what it is. We play at Penn State. That's going to be a tough game, but if it's during the day, Jim Harbaugh will wipe Franklin up. I'm telling you that right now. Michigan State is a night game. I hope that the entire state police force is in the stadium because that is going to be a battle because especially after what happened in the tunnel. I mean, that's going to be like the criminals versus it just is what it is. I'm telling you, Michigan State's going to be out for blood. So it doesn't even matter what their record is. They're going to play good that night. They're going to get some calls. They're going to get away with murder. Like, it's just the way it's going to be. So we're going to have to be ready to play that night. I'm telling you, we're going to wipe Ohio State up. Marvin Harrison is a stud. The receivers worry me a little bit, but them boys can't put on the chin straps tight enough to play with us right now. So that's my take. I'll let you have the floor after this. Here's my playoff prediction. Right now, my 4 teams that are making it. Michigan, Georgia, Alabama. I hate putting Ohio State in there. I really do. I hate putting them in there. So I'm trying to just think of somebody else that I can throw in there. It's hard to even put a different team outside the Big Ten and SEC right now. It really is. But you know what? I'll just go for kicks and giggles, and I'm going to throw in, just to make my people in Texas happy, I'll throw Texas in there because I think they got an easy schedule. They got Alabama. If they can beat Alabama, they basically have a chance with one loss. That gives them any one loss that they'll get in the playoffs. So, no, I take it back. Not Texas. I forgot. I'll put USC in there. It's Caleb Williams. So I'm going to go USC, Ohio, or USC, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan. And here's what's going to happen, right? Here's what's going to happen. Michigan will play Georgia in the semifinal, and we're gonna beat the brakes off of you.
Oh my God.
Alabama will play USC, and USC will win in fashion. Like Caleb Williams will go crazy. Like the one thing Nick Saban has struggled with over years, like dudes that can mobile and throw. So it'll be like 45-40, and Caleb Williams will have like 479 total yards. Like he'll do some crazy stuff. And then we'll beat the brakes off of USC and let them know what's happening in the Big Ten. And Jim Harbaugh will do the one thing nobody thinks he can do, and that's win a national championship.
Respect. I like you having confidence in your boys. I can respect that. JJ McCarthy, under no circumstances, a top 2 quarterback in the nation.
Really?
No way.
So are you willing to do a friendly wager? Let's get it on video. That JJ McCarthy will move himself into a first-round draft pick after this season.
I'll wager that.
You don't think that will happen?
Well, how old is he? Is he a sophomore or what is he?
I don't know if he redshirted his first year. Like that's the thing.
I'm trying to figure out.
I think he's a junior. I believe he's a junior.
Let's finalize this the next episode.
All right.
Think, because Drake May is better than him from Carolina.
JJ McCarthy wipes Drake May up. I'm telling you that right now.
And Carson Beck will be in the Heisman.
Oh, of course. Yeah, when you just hand the ball off 35 times.
No, he's going to sling that boy. I'm telling you right now.
Bubble screens for 70 yards.
Oh, my. I mean, if you had Brock Bowers, you can do just about anything.
You ain't lying.
But my 4 teams, kind of interesting. You might smack me. but I got Georgia, Penn State, SC, and Texas. I think this year Penn State gets over. This is like their most talented roster that they've ever had. I got a couple
Most
friends.
talented? I was just telling you about Saquon.
Dude, they're returning like their whole team except their quarterback, and their quarterback was mid.
And their team was trash last year.
They were 11-2.
In the Big Ten, the bottom of the Big Ten was trash last year.
Okay, I'll agree with you with that. But they have an upgraded quarterback this year. Drew Aller is going to be a stud. He's better than McCarthy too. You watch by the end of the year. Aller is better than McCarthy.
You're funny, man. You're funny.
And you tried over Donovan Edwards.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then so I had Georgia, Penn State, right? USC, Texas. I'm gonna put Texas in there only for this reason.
Okay.
They're returning Ewers. They have a weak schedule. Their line is a year older. I know we both agree that they were dog shit last year.
Yes. Trash.
Defense is a year older as well.
You can't even name one player they have on defense. That's how bad it is.
Exactly. I know the receivers are going to be really good. You got Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell. He transferred from us to them.
Xavier Worthy was a Michigan commit. Yeah.
He was?
Yeah, he was. And then he backed out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If he was on Michigan right now, it'd be a wrap.
No, it wouldn't be Raps. It really wouldn't be. I promise you. We'd still beat you. But anyway, so it's going to be – so I told you my 4. Georgia is going to play Texas.
So you got Penn State beating Michigan and Ohio State in the same year, or are all 3 teams going to split?
This is my hot take right now. Michigan's going to lose 2 games.
To who? Penn State and Ohio State?
No. They're going to beat the shit out of Ohio State. They're going to lose at Michigan State. I don't know how – I know you're laughing.
Oh,
but, dude,
man.
That game is so weird every year when they play there.
It is very weird, yes.
And especially this year with it being a night game and the shit that happened last year. I'm going on a limb. That's my prediction. I'm not hating on Michigan because they're going to be amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the national championship this year.
I hear you. I told you the Michigan State game is dangerous. Just night game, like Michigan State fans, like that's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I don't care the records. College game day should be at that game no matter what.
I agree. I agree 100% with you because I went to the game a couple years ago, the Kenneth Walker game. That atmosphere there was just insane. Yeah. Like I've never been around an atmosphere like that in my life.
Yeah, that's the thing about Mel Tucker. When I look back on it, and obviously everybody kind of when he came in and had Kenneth Walker, you're kind of like, whoa, like is this dude about to do something? But then I think now that I've watched Kenneth Walker and what he did in Seattle his first year, I think he just struck gold. Like he kind of found his Saquon Barkley. It's really hard to continue to do that though through the transfer portal, and that's what Mel Tucker's trying to do. He's trying to build a team through the transfer. He's trying to be the way overpaid version of Deion Sanders. Is really what he's trying to do, and I don't think that's going to work. It's going to catch up to him. He's another bad year away from somebody at Michigan State saying, "Why the bleep are we paying this dude so much money?" Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting. But that is a trap game. No matter what the record, I agree with you. Like because Michigan State people, that's their Super Bowl. No matter the records, no matter what is at stake, that really is their Super Bowl. Like, and it's like that in every sport, man. Like I've never seen anything like it. When people try to talk about rivalries, I tell them the Michigan State rivalry is underrated because of the way Michigan State people take it so damn serious. Not to say that Michigan doesn't, but obviously our rivalry in football is with Ohio State just from where we traditionally both teams nationally are. And that's what I try to tell people. Michigan State people, like, they just live for that shit, man. And if Michigan State wins that game, they don't care about the record. They don't care about the rest of the season. Like, it's that game, like, and if we beat them, like, then we'll figure out where we're supposed to be.
I agree 100% with
you. Yeah, I agree. It'll be really interesting. I think USC is a sleepy team. I mean, I think people expect them, but they could be really good. Obviously, their schedule's not crazy. We talked Georgia's schedule's not good. Michigan's schedule's not good. Obviously, the conference schedules themselves, you'll play.
I can say one thing, like, about obviously our schedule's not good, but we played Oregon week 1 last year. We're supposed to play them again this year. They backed out of it. because we beat the shit out of them. I'm pretty sure that was why. And then we were supposed to play at Oklahoma, and since they're coming to the SEC,
Yep.
they kind of canceled it, and we're playing them next year anyway. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why. But
no, I hear this is the last year of Michigan's cakewalk. We actually start playing Texas, Oklahoma, and some non-conference games. So that it's going to be real interesting. And I say this, to be honest, when Harbaugh had signed these teams, some of the teams we had signed, like Colorado State, the year we signed the contract with them, they were actually pretty good in the Big 12. They just come off one of their best records. And then, like, you play them and they look like a freaking Grand Valley and Ferris State would have beat them by 50. Yeah. So it's just that's how scheduling is. It's crazy. These, teams are scheduling games 10 years down the road. Like, the coaches aren't even going to be there. Like, that's just the way college football is right now. So it's just wild. So, all right, we'll move on. Last thing, we're going to talk about the NFL real quick. I don't even know. Who's your favorite NFL team?
I don't have like a favorite NFL team. I enjoy watching football, like
okay.
NFL.
Yeah.
But I love Patrick Mahomes. I love
Patrick, the classic. I couldn't imagine you saying anything else. Just keep riding the bandwagon.
Oh,
so,
my God.
Obviously the Chiefs are good. I'm a big Patriots fan. Obviously grew up, Brady played in Michigan, goes into the NFL and dominates my entire life. But I've stuck with him. I've learned Belichick is the best football coach ever, college football and pro, hot take. But it's just last year the Patriots roster was terrible, and their offense would, like, Iowa and New England offenses were about similar. And somehow we were still right there in the playoff chase to make the playoffs. So that's just the tip of the cap to Belichick. My expectations for the Patriots this year are kind of the same thing. A couple games over 500, try to make the playoffs. Obviously, their division now that Rodgers is at the Jets. It's the best division in football on paper. We'll see if it turns out that way. But we'll see what Belichick has up his sleeve. He will prepare like nobody else does. And I think he's very driven to try to win a championship without Brady. That won't happen yet, but I think that he's kind of like, let's just stay really good, and then it's just one move or whatever, and that will happen. So here's what we'll do. Let's do a preseason MVP, somebody that we think will win MVP, and then let's do a Super Bowl prediction. Way too early, obviously, but why not? And maybe if we're right, we can play this damn video on ESPN.
So I got my MVP this year. I got Mahomes running it back. And then in the Super Bowl, I got the 49ers and the Chiefs.
And who's winning?
I'm going Chiefs. They're going back to back.
Loving it. Imagine that. So, I mean, for MVP this year, this is tough. I'm trying to think. I don't want to go Mahomes. I think the Chiefs may struggle a bit this year. I think they'll still be in the playoffs. I think that, they'll get hot at the end of the year, but I think they're going to struggle a little bit at the beginning of the year. I'm trying to think. I was probably going to go Burrow until he got hurt, but now he's going to be out 4 or 5 weeks. So that probably takes him out of the game. And I'm just trying to think of everybody else. Like, who could win the MVP? I'm looking at the NFC. Jalen Hurts isn't a bad bet, but that's just kind of a lame guess, I guess. So I'm trying to think outside the box. Like, do I want to make my Lions fans happy and go with Jared Goff? Like, he potentially could. If the Lions won like 13 or 14 games and he put up good numbers, he could be. He could be there. But again, I don't love that. Like Rodgers with the Jets. But again, as a Patriots fan, I can't really say that. Like, I'm not going to go with Josh Allen. So I'm trying to think here. And, it's tough. I'm going to give you a wild card here, okay? This is out of nowhere, right? I got a couple names from the NFC that I'm thinking of that I really want to go with. First one is Derek Carr with the Saints.
Ooh.
Okay, because the Raiders shafted him so bad. I think that he's going to be so motivated. Now, the problem with Derek Carr is he's like Kirk Cousins. Plays really good when they're losing, finds a way to win a few games that he shouldn't. But when the money's really on the line, he's not that guy. So that's my problem. So I could go Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins. Like, the Vikings were rolling last year. And if you watch that Netflix show, like, Kirk Cousins got hurt, and that was pretty much just the year. But again, watching that show too, like, Kirk's a little soft, man. Like, has to take Tuesdays off. Like, I'm not buying that, bro. Like, that's why people say who you are, like, because you don't have the it factor. So I don't know. Like, it's tough to just not agree with you. Does Lamar come back pissed off? Like, but I think that the Baltimore I think that's about to blow up this year. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I got my guy. Okay, and this is for my guy Trav. Trav loves him. He loves African American quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like he should be an agent to all these guys. He thinks they're all the next Michael Vick. I'm going with Deshaun Watson at the Browns. Here's what I'm going to tell you this. I think the Browns potentially could be beast. Nick Chubb is maybe the best running back in the NFL when healthy and when given the opportunity. He said that he is a better receiver than people say, but he says that they've used Kareem Hunt that way. So now it looks like Kareem Hunt is gone. So it looks like Nick Chubb may be the MVP. So but I'm going to go with Watson. I think that Watson he's been able to put all that dumb shit, whatever he was doing. I don't even care. Behind him, I think he's going to go out and ball out this year. I really do. So that's my wild card. Mahomes will probably be there. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, that dude's a dog. Josh Allen will probably be there. Jalen Hurts will probably be there. You know, my people in Dallas would want me to say Dak Prescott, but I can't stand the Cowboys.
Yeah. Me either.
So I can't say that. And I'm just trying to think of somebody else in the NFC. Maybe I can't even go with a 49ers quarterback because is Purdy healthy? Like, can he play all year? I thought he couldn't play the beginning of the year. And so that was the thing. Like, I don't know if Purdy can play all year. Maybe he's a wild card. But the 49ers, like, they just find ways to win games like 15-12. Like,
yeah,
they're crazy. So yeah, I'll go with Deshaun Watson. He's my wild card. The Super Bowl, though, I'm not putting the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go Bengals. Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna go Joe Burrow. He's a dog. I'm gonna go with the Bengals, and the Bengals are going to play the 49ers. And the 49ers are gonna win the championship.
That's respectable.
That's what I got.
NFC.
Yeah, I got the 49ers. The Eagles are still the NFC favorite. Their roster's loaded, but I'll go with the 49ers. So, all right, CO, man, it's always a pleasure, man. Keep up the grind. Just real quick, I'll tell the people you can add some. Man, get on board with the TikTok page. You got the TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Just go like and follow. Great things are coming. I'm getting super close to being able to go live on TikTok. I think that's going to change the game. That's really going to help us if we can get more followers on the page to be able to go live too. We can just do our podcast right there. That will be big time. The YouTube is blowing up. Follow the Coach Eye YouTube page. I think we've grown 100 subscribers in like the last 2 weeks. So that's been big time. So we appreciate all that. But man, just get on board. And it is what it is. We're just trying to motivate people, and that's all I can say. So I appreciate it. We're big sports guys. We love talking about sports. Your Bulldogs will not win 3 in a row. You heard it here first. It's just not going to happen.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. And
Kirby,
give it, I think, 5 more years. I'm going to say 3 to 5 more years. He's going to be recognized as the greatest coach ever.
The greatest coach in college football history. That's a hot take. But, when you cheat, it's a possibility. When you cheat, it's a possibility.
Suspended
for buying a player a cheeseburger, bro. Come on.
Follow the rules.
Come on. He did. He turned himself in and he gets a 4-game suspension. People in that, you know what happens in the SEC when you turn yourself in? They say, don't worry. After you go take another job, we're going to vacate the wins from 2012. Like, what in the – that's another thing we could talk about. See, you're going to get me going. I could talk about this all night. What in the hell does it do any good if you vacate somebody's wins from a few years ago? That don't matter. Like, if you call me and say, hey, I want your wins back from 2011, like, what does that mean? Do I pull out some whiteout and erase it in the binder? Like, and if I win a trophy, I ain't sending that shit back. Like, what does that do? Like, you want me to call my man that's playing for the Cowboys on Sundays and tell him, like, hey, bud, by the way, yeah, those stats are just, we got to erase them. We got to throw this box score away. Like, man, they played the game. They know they won. Like, both teams know they won. Like, it was like when Louisville beat Michigan and then Rick Pitino got in trouble a couple years ago, like, and they were like, oh, well, technically they didn't win the championship, but so nobody did. Like, what? No, Louisville won the championship still. Like, it's just, the NCAA is stupid, man. I'm telling you that right now. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And they're just using Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh has always been, people like to shit on Jim Harbaugh. And I love it because it's going to be a hell of a story. 4-game suspension, and then he's going to go, I told you. You know what? I'm going to change my prediction. I told you that we're going to beat USC. We're going to beat Alabama in the championship because here's why. He's going to wipe Kirby and Nick Saban up in the same game.
Oh, hell no. Come on. That's wild.
And Jim Harbaugh will be on the top of the mountain. We'll be on the top of the mountain at the end of the year.
I would be okay if you said maybe he upset one of them. He's not beating both in the same year.
You see it. This is his year, and he is. I'm telling you, when Jim Harbaugh first got to Michigan, he kind of had that look and that little smirk. He's got that back. So I'm telling you, and we got the roster. I'm telling you, man, we got the roster.
Hey man, we'll see how this unfolds. I'm excited.
We have an NFL backfield, quarterback and running backs.
We have an NFL team.
No, you don't have an NFL backfield. You can't tell me that. You don't have it. Your quarterback is not ready for the NFL. He's a bum.
I'm gonna say like 3-4 games in, you're gonna be saying something different.
You think so?
Dog, bro. Carson Beck is a dog.
Michigan will win their first 6 games by an average of 50 points every game.
Well, that's what happens when you play Vandercook Lake and East Jackson.
Georgia's playing FCS Southwest, Southeast. Like, my goodness. And this so happens, like, it'll be like the week before you play Alabama, you got another Division III-A school coming down to play you. Like, the announcers don't even know the names. A dude runs the ball, and they're like, yeah, hold on, we got to check the number on this one. Like, it's like you're playing. It's like you're playing Sycamore Bishop out there. Like, my goodness, how do you even call these guys and get games?
Bishop Sycamore. That is wild. That is
so
awesome.
All right, CO, my guy.
All right, brother. That was a pleasure.
Right. Yes, sir. Take it easy.
You too.